Hello everybody, it is Wednesday the 12th of June. Again, I want to talk about some definitions here. We need definitions for words. We seem to have forgotten what words actually mean. We're using them in the wrong way, or we were never aware what words actually meant because the knowledge of that was withheld from us. We are using language in a completely muddled way. And it's creating chaos. It really is. So I want to talk about life and death for starters. The definitions of the words. I want to talk about Creator and God. Those words in the book have definitions. The people that are, let's say, on what you would call on a higher level of awareness, higher level of consciousness, they use these words with clear definitions. That is why they can talk to one another. Yeah, they are speaking the same language. They are aware of what it is they're saying, whereas we are all over the place. So God and Creator and the truth, the one truth, because those that seek the one truth and say, I want to have a knowledge of Creator, they are again completely confused and they are on a hiding to nowhere. I want to show you this here. Once we use the correct words, you can see how I want the one truth, I want to know the Creator is actually complete nonsense. Right, let's start with life and death. We always had clear definitions for those words. For some reason people seem to have forgotten them. Yeah? Life is this state of existence that we're in right now. We have always defined that as life, which is really consciousness expressing itself through the medium of matter. That is what life is. And we've always used that word for the state of existence here and now, in matter. Death is a different state of consciousness. Death is a state of consciousness that you go into when matter separates from the I am, from the consciousness that knows itself. And it goes back into another state. Still exists, obviously it does. But that state we called death. So somehow I'm getting thrown at me, death is not real. Hello? Yes, it is. And we've always known it is real. We always knew there is a change of state of consciousness from life to death. We've also known that death does not mean the end of existence. That was always clear. Even in the Christian tradition, when we say people of a soul leaves here and goes to heaven, means it goes to a different place where it exists in a different state of consciousness. We've always said that. The Eastern tradition is the same. Yeah, when they think about reincarnation. So, how is death then not real? When in spirituality, or part of spirituality was always the communication with the dead. We called them the dead, as distinguishing them from the state of existence in matter. But if we're communicating with them, means they're there, they are existing. So we're talking about life and death, and then I'm getting thrown at me, death is not real. Well, then you are using the wrong definition of the word, as in death is the end of existence. It never meant that. Remember what the word actually means. Has always meant. So, talking about life, and we're getting it muddled. Life is out there, death does not exist. We are no longer clear about what it is we're talking about. And I think we use the words without bringing to awareness what it is we're talking about. So we became kind of unconscious about what it is we were saying. And now something is modeling the definitions here. And people are not firm in the definition of the words. So they can be thrown. Somebody tells you death is not real. Death is not real. You've lost the definition of the word. Of course it's real. Right. Then God versus Creator. And that is such... Unless people start talking clearly, we are not being able to communicate ideas or to evolve our ideas because we are in a model. And one thing that is absolutely to blame is the Bible, because it uses the word God for anything and everything. Yeah? It describes different states of consciousness, different ways of being, and they call it all God. Yeah? And then of course people sit here and say, it's all one thing. No, it's not. You've been taught it's one thing because they're using the same word. But if you cannot see the distinction between the different states of consciousness that it describes, you do not know what you're in. You have no understanding. And again, those that are at the top, those that have esoteric knowledge, yeah, they use words with clear distinctions. They can talk to each other because they are very clear about what it is they're talking about. Whereas, as I said, we're all over the place, using words meaning this, that, or the other. It's all one. Yeah, it's all one because you're in a complete blur of where it's all one. Come out of that blur so that the forms become distinct, the separate forms become distinct, and you know what you're talking about. You're in a fog where everything is one. Right. Creator. The tree of life is Creator. And it is all. Everything. Every possibility, anything that can be manifested out of it. Out of it, everything is created. Without it, nothing is created. Nothing exists that is not Him. Yeah? And don't try to get your head around that because you can't. Just know He is all. And He's unchanging. All the possibilities were in Him from the beginning. And they always will be there. And it will remain unchanging for all eternity. Creator, the field of all possibilities, of all knowledge, is unchanging. It is always there. That is Creator. That is the bit we cannot know. Because we cannot know all. Right. Now we come to God. God is a distinct part of the Creator. And by that definition alone, God is not all because He's only one part. No part is all. They are Creator, obviously, because everything is created by Him, but they are not all of it. So whoever says I am all is completely deluded. I am all is a contradiction in terms. I am cannot be all. It is one distinct part. So God says I am. Then that in itself means I am not all. So, and then we come to different levels of consciousness. Again, it is a way of categorizing, explaining what a consciousness is, or what state it is in. Again, life and death is a definition of a state of consciousness. Now, God, man, animal, vegetative, mineral. those are also states of consciousness, and they are categorized by what level of self-consciousness the consciousness has. God, being I am, is the highest level of being self-conscious. And then you go down the levels of self-consciousness. It is a way of categorizing, describing the level of self-consciousness. Right. So then, again, when Adam and Eve ate of the tree of knowledge, and God said, behold, the man is become as one of us. That is Genesis 3 verse 22. And 22 stands for the giving of light, so please be enlightened. When God says the man is become as one of us, in that he knows good and bad according to himself, means you have reached a level of self-consciousness that is above the animal. You have become man, which is a level of consciousness. And then he says, lest he reaches out his hand and eats of the tree of life and lives forever. Tree of life, again, being the creator, the field of all possibilities, gaining knowledge out of the field. That is what that is talking about. And that again means being spiritual, gaining knowledge not out of the five senses, out of the material. That is knowledge as well, it's a different knowledge. But gaining knowledge on the spiritual pathways, out of the field itself, which we can do. And then the spiritual, it is what is described on one level as the supernatural, being in the spiritual. And again, we can get in contact, not just gaining knowledge out of the field itself, but getting in contact with other consciousnesses. When we communicate with the dead, we communicate with somebody who's in a different state of existence. When we communicate with the gods, we are communicating with consciousnesses that are on a experience a different existence than we do. They see themselves differently. They are on a different wavelength. But that again is born out of the knowledge of I am. They think themselves different. They see themselves different. That puts them on a different wavelength. But we can communicate. Again, that's eating of the tree of life. Right. So truth, the one unchanging truth. The one unchanging truth is the Creator. But to talk about Him as one is actually not knowing the Creator at all, because He is all. He is not just one thing. To say, I want to know the one truth of the Creator is idiotic. It is as illogical as you can get. If Creator is all, then how is there one truth in Him? Everything is. Everything in Him is truth. Everything in Him is life, love. Everything in Him can be used for good. It can also be used in a different way. Yeah, so you have the knowledge out of the field of the atom. And you can build nuclear reactors, and you can create electricity, power for all. Great. Or you can build a bomb. It's based on the same knowledge. Depends on what you do with it. So yeah, to say I want to find the one truth, and truth is unchanging. Yeah, the Creator is unchanging, but He's gazillions of truths. Endless number of truths in there. So the only way, now let's say like this, it is the I am, the experience consciousness that gains truth out of the Creator. It gains new knowledge. And with the knowledge, we change. We change our perception of what we are and what we're in. And that is called evolution. Yeah? So the separate consciousness is not unchanging. It is forever changing, evolving. We've seen this in our sciences. There were truths that were preached to us from, trust the science, I'm science, yeah. And then it turns out they did not have all the information, and it wasn't quite the way they said it was. So we had to change our truth in the light of new knowledge, in the light of knowledge, the light coming from the field, the light of knowledge. So then we change, we expand, we see ourselves differently. That means our own consciousness is expanding. The I am is expanding in the knowledge of itself. So we are forever changing. And those are the shifting sands that Jesus spoke about. Yeah? Creation is in movement all the time. The created part, not that which it is created out of. It is eternal. Everything was always there. So, but the created part is forever changing. And we can only know truth from the point of I am, and again, then we do not know it all. And the only way we can know one unchanging truth is if we do not change. We are the point of perception. If that point never changes, then it will at some point reach the perception, I am all, which is a state of complete delusion. And it is denying all other possibilities. Again, church, science, everything is at that. They're saying this is the only truth. You must believe on that. And if you go beyond that, if you think you know something outside of the parameters of their doctrine, that's demons, that's bad thoughts, it's all evil out there. Don't go there. You go to hell. You will go to hell if you go outside the parameters of what we've told you is truth. But that is a state of delusion. And that is not being in the truth of the Creator. If you say there is only one, you are not in the truth of the Creator. If you're seeking the one, you are actually actively seeking a lie. Just see how back to front this is. So all we can do is, from the perception of I am, and we are on the level of a God, on our level of self-consciousness, we can stretch out. We can stretch out and eat of the tree of life, which is the Creator. We can stretch out into the field, not with the rational mind, but with the other body. And we can gain knowledge. That is gnosis. That is the way of the Gnostics. That is spirituality. And then we gain more knowledge. It will never be the one truth. It will never be all. Never. The I am cannot know all. It cannot. And if it thinks it is deluded. But there we are. We can do that. We are supposed to evolve. We are supposed to increase the knowledge that our consciousness has of itself. And that is creation. That is what you're in. So, life and death, different states of consciousness, expressed in matter, not expressed in matter. God, man, animal, plants, consciousness described by its level of self-awareness. God and Creator, Creator being all, everything, all truth. It's all true because it's all Him. God, that which is self-aware and has a limited knowledge, yes, of what is in there, but that can expand. It has got the possibility of expanding. You're saying there's only one truth and it should be unchanging, then you are no longer moving. And that is not the state you should be in. Creation should move. That's the whole point of it. And then really, last bit, knowledge of good and bad. What should the knowledge serve that we are receiving out of the field? It changes our consciousness. Yes, it does. Consciousness will change with the receiving of the light of knowledge. It will change. It must. Unless it willfully ignores what it has just learned and says, I am the one unchanging rock in the sea of all. No, change, do evolve. But what should the knowledge serve? And here's the thing. Again, life. Life being the experience of consciousness expressed in matter. If that is what you're in, why should the knowledge not serve to preserve, to aid this state? Knowledge can serve life. And in fact, if I'm here and I want to be here, many don't, okay, that is your choice. You want to exist in a different form, fine. I want to be here. I want to experience the expression of consciousness in matter, expressed through matter. I want the knowledge to serve life. Yeah? Not to drive me out of it, not to destroy it, but to serve life. And that is, for longest part, knowledge that was gained in this world was in service to life. Medicine served life. Knowledge gained, the expansion of consciousness, but within the laws, within the parameters of life, that it is not life destroying. And I just want to live in a world where we can change, but without destroying the state of life itself. And yes, that sets you boundaries. There are things you cannot do because they will be destructive. You know, all possibilities. We can be whatever we want. You go outside of the parameters of what is good for life and you will destroy life. And that is what they're doing at the moment. Why? Because the other state is so much greater. We are all there ever is and ever will be. I am the only truth. They are in a state of delusion. They are completely deluded. And they are the destroyers of life. So, again, let's have clear definitions of what it is we're talking about, what it is we actually want to be self-aware, want to be able to expand, but want to maintain the experience of life, to know the Creator through the medium of matter. That is a choice, and then knowledge should serve that choice, and that is knowledge serves life. Anyway, here, I hope that made sense, and I leave it at this for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.